Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Stretch Pass. I'm Steve Clark alongside Matt Young. Matt, lots to talk about over the last couple of weeks. How about the Flint Firebirds, who find themselves now nationally ranked number 10 in the country and atop their conference? What a story.
Well, it's not something we would have predicted going back into September. We knew the Flint Firebirds were going to be much improved this year, but we didn't know how good they would be. And you know what? There's things like Evgeny Oxentia, who's just on fire this year. 17 points so far in the year. Nobody expected him to do what he's doing. So it's always nice if you're the Flint Firebirds, if you get production from guys that you just don't expect it from.
It's a great story, though, considering the well-told story of what happened with this franchise a few years ago. Now it seems that they're poised to be potentially in the upper echelon of the conference and maybe even the league.
Well, it's certainly taken a little bit of time. You know, there's a lot of repair that had to happen after that whole inaugural year in Flint, but eventually it was going to happen. It was all about good management. They forced the owner aside, let him kind of shuffle off and just kind of be the money guy, and his kid's no longer on the team. So I think there's just a lot of things that have really lined up for the Flint Firebirds this year. And again, when you lose that much, you get a lot of first-round draft picks and high first-round draft picks, and they're taking advantage of it.
Topic number 2 this week, trades, and there were plenty of them. 4 over the past, couple of weeks. Let's start off with London and Sarnia, an unusual trade. If you could follow the bouncing ball, goalie Dylan Miskew was waived by the Edmonton Oil Kings of the WHL, picked up by Sarnia, and somehow finds himself in London for Jordan Coy and a third rounder. How about this one?
Well, it's almost the worst kept secret in all of the Ontario Hockey League and the CHL. Everybody knew that the goaltender was waived and that he wanted to play in London, but the Sarnia Sting kind of stepped in and put a roadblock on that. Or did they? If you're a conspiracy theorist, like I could be at times, you kind of wonder, did they work something out with the London Knights ahead of time? Our record's not very good. We'll claim them. You send us Coy and a draft pick. Everybody wins. And I think right now, it's probably the best case scenario for both hockey clubs.
Joseph Garefa, his rights, because he was in the American Hockey League, got released from his contract, get traded to Ottawa. He's made an immediate impact with the Ottawa 67s. Kitchener gets 3 third-round picks back.
Yeah, I mean, Garefa's a really good player. He had 80-plus points last year. He could hit 100 this year as an overager in the league. So when I look at that, I think it's a great trade for the Ottawa 67s, because what do? The one thing that they were lacking to start the year was goal scoring, and they go out and they get a guy. And when you lose a guy like Clark, they have to make up some offense, and they did that and then some with Garefa.
A weird trade I found. Saginaw and Barrie got together with a trade. Nick Porco goes from Saginaw to Barrie along with Ian Lemieux. Dalton Duhart and a couple of draft picks go back to Saginaw. Is Barrie the team that really should be adding players at the expense of draft picks?
It's peculiar only because, yes, it's not the Barrie Colts year. I don't believe it's their year whatsoever. I mean, Nick Porco is going to be around beyond this year as well. He could lead the team in scoring next year even, and could combine with Nick Suzuki to make a really, really good pair. But I look at this and I think to myself, I don't like the fact that the Barrie Colts are doing things like this. They're moving picks. It's just what they do every couple of years. They find a way to go out, they move extra picks, and at times it's meaningless, and I don't quite get it.
Porco, by the way, is a Dallas Stars draft pick. That might have had something to do with it. Finally, Niagara kind of shores up their OA log jam. They trade Drew Hunter to the Erie Otters, 4th-round pick. Pretty fair trade for both teams?
I like it for both teams only because I like Drew Hunter's game, and I think he really adds to the top 6 in Erie. And Niagara, there's no secret they need draft picks, so it's the best case scenario for all involved.
And finally, one guy who might not be traded anymore, Kirill Nizhnikov may thrill no more in the Ontario Hockey League. Owen Sound has let him go. That's 4 OHL teams plus a trip back to Russia. I have to believe this young man is running out of options.
Oh, I think the options have all but closed their doors on him. You look at Kirill Nizhnikov's OHL career. Before he plays a game in the league, what does he do? He demands a trade out of Mississauga. Gets traded to the Barrie Colts. The following year, then he goes to the Sudbury Wolves, plays there for a little while, then quits halfway through last year to go back to Russia, only to find himself back in the OHL once again this year. And 10 games in, that's it. It's unbelievable, but You know, I think it's kind of the way it was meant to be for him, only because there was so much hype and it just didn't deliver.
So Kirill Nizhnikov, his OHL career likely to be over. That's it for the Stretch Pass for this time. For Matt Young, I'm Steve Clark. We'll see you soon when we talk about more OHL topics.